So I want to start going over some very basic maintenance that needs to be done in order to keep lawn equipment running. So everybody knows spark plugs, everybody knows maybe fuel filters, maybe, running the carburetor out of gasoline after the season, before winter time so that it doesn't gum up and ruin your carburetor. One thing that I'm going to talk about is the air filter. Not everybody probably replaces air filters all the time. So I'm going to do that on this one. It's something very basic that is a big contributor to how well your equipment will run. And then if they get full of dirt, debris, whatnot, it's really going to restrict airflow, and you're not going to get the power out of your equipment that you might have gotten at one point. So let's jump into it. Now what I have here is an old Rally push mower. This is, I think, a 22-inch deck. Honestly, I don't know a whole lot about it. My dad has had this mower for the longest time, and he didn't have a need for it. He's over the years gotten plenty of other mowers. And when I had started renting my first house, I needed a little mower, and he was coming down and he's like, "Hey, I got this mower for you if you want it." So I was like, "Sure." So I took it. I don't know the manufacturer year, but just with some quick research online, it seems like the Rally mowers, the first 4 digits of the serial number is the manufacture date, which in this case, then it was manufactured in January of '87. So whether or not that's true, I don't know. If it is, this thing is a couple years older than I am. And it still runs, which I think is pretty cool. A lot of people don't like the Briggs & Stratton motors on the bigger lawn tractors and stuff like that, but I really haven't had any issue with them. My dad likes them. So I think they're just great. This one's still going. I'm going to try to keep it going as long as I can. I actually use this mower quite a bit just for all the detail mowing that the big 54-inch X580 can't really get to. And then for rougher stuff, I don't like driving that at the edges of my property now because it's along a road, which is just gravel. So I don't want to be hitting all that fine debris. But anyway, onto the air filter. That's one thing that I'll admit I probably have neglected. And we're gonna pop this thing open, see what it looks like, and get it cleaned up. Now, some mowers will have an easily completely replaceable filter. You just pop a cover off, take the filter out, put the new one in, put the cover back on. One like this is actually a foam filter that is reusable. So to get to it, I'm just gonna open up this cover. Pull the screw out, and then this is your air filter housing. We can see it's pretty dirty under here, but look at this. You can see all these kind of bumped up spots. That's the foam filter pressing through. That foam filter sandwiched in there, and you can see this thing is completely clogged with debris. As I said, I'll take the blame for that. I haven't been maintaining that the way I probably should have. I never really gave it a thought. I replace the spark plug, yearly, and make sure gas is drained from it, things like that. I try to keep it fairly clean. As you can see, it's not in too bad a shape, but that's something we need to take care of. So I'm gonna try. Well, actually, that wasn't hard. You just pop this cover off, and then in here you can see the foam filter. This little insert comes out, and then you should be able to gently pull out the filter. If these are really old, they will come apart, so you got to be really careful. But you can see those are the sections that was sticking through this, and they're completely clogged. Now, as I said before, this is washable, so I'm just going to wash it out. What I have here is just a measuring cup that I use for just chemicals and things like that. So I have it labeled. It's not for food use or anything. Food will never go in this. But I have it filled up with some simple orange and then some water. So I'm just gonna dunk it in there and let it soak for a bit, and we'll pull it out and see what it looks like after. In the meantime, while that soap's doing its thing, I'm just gonna take some throttle body air intake cleaner. You could also use carb cleaner, doesn't really matter. Spray some on a rag and just try to clean everything here up a little bit. If you have a bunch of excess, try not to get it inside that intake too much. So you have a good clean sealing surface. This has been soaking for, I don't know, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. And you can see water's a little bit dirty. Of course, you still see where the dirt was, but it's not quite so caked in. So I'm just gonna squeeze it out in there a few times. Try to force anything extra out, maybe pull some more soap in. So now that it's soaked, we're just gonna hit it with the hose, try to get any extra out of there. Squeezing all the soap out. Try to focus on the spots that have the air passages. And of course it's gonna stay colored, especially if it's, you know, been there for a number of years. But as long as you don't see any buildups, you're gonna have much better airflow. Wring it out good, try to get as much water and soap out as possible. Should be clear water at this point. And you can see now that there's no buildup on it. I mean, it is discolored. Can't do too much about that, but that should give us some good airflow now, better than what was there. So next, just gonna let this dry. Alrighty, so this is completely dry now. Again, you can see pretty clean. There's no like actual buildup. It's all just dark dirt, you know, intrusion. But you're not gonna be able to get all that out. So the next step, this calls, it actually says right on the side here, there's air cleaner maintenance instructions, and it says to re-oil it. Basically, it says to put engine oil on it, and then, you know, squeeze excess out, and then it'll be oiled. I'm actually going to use, I have some K&N air filter oil. I'm actually going to spray that on. So I'm going to do that off camera, kind of outside, so it's not in the garage. But I'll cut right back to it when I get there. And there we have it. Sprayed the K&N oil on there, squeezed it out, and then just put a light coating over it. The reason I actually used the air filter oil is just because it's a bit stickier, so it won't want to get ingested into the engine more than if you were to use a lighter oil. You know, that may or may not be a problem. It says to use just regular engine oil, so it shouldn't hurt anything, but I figured I have the K&N oil. I'm not really going to be using it for anything because that was from a different vehicle I had, so it was just laying around doing nothing, so I figured I'd put it to use. So at this point, I cleaned everything else out. It's nice and clean, so we're just going to put everything back together and we'll be done. So we'll put that in there. At this point, I'm going to take my glove off. Put this piece back in. And then the top back on. And make sure you get that foam inside of it. Trying not to, there, just like that, to where it's not this corner. We don't want it to be pinched. Just like that. And that is a much better looking filter. Obviously it's still dark colored. You know, it's not gonna look like a new one, but a lot better. So we'll set that back on. And then, where did my tools go? Over here. Put the screw back in and tighten the air filter back on. And that is all there is to cleaning a single cylinder lawnmower, or you know, whatever other kind of engine you have. This could work for a garden tiller, anything really. You know, cleaning an air filter like that. Now I'm gonna start it up and just see if it seems like it has any more power. So of course I forgot to do a video beforehand to see how this worked, but I can tell that definitely helped it a little bit. It's only, I think, a 3.5 horse engine. It's not very big, so of course I can't expect it to be like the 24 horse, you know, V-twin that's on the 580. I can't expect power like that, but it did seem to run a little better right now. I'll be interested to see how it works after cutting it. So appreciate you watching. Hopefully if you were curious on how to do a filter like this, you now know. At any rate, have a good one.